Hello and welcome to another episode of Wanna Be Entrepreneur. Today I'm here with Iris. Hey Iris.
Hi, Tiago. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. It's an interesting way the way we met because I was browsing through my LinkedIn and then Iris got recommended to me as an entrepreneur, and also she's also working in the sustainability
hmm
area. So I thought okay, that's super cool, and I sent a message and she accepted. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, no, great being here and also being part of this community, Tiago, that you're, creating of entrepreneurs. Yeah,
Yeah, cool. So, to start things off, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself to the listeners. Who is Irish?
yeah. So I was born and raised in Milan, so I'm actually Italian, and I moved to the Netherlands around almost now 5 years ago. Actually, I never wanted to become an entrepreneur, and so I sort of came to this path. Let's say uh, by in different ways. So actually, my passion lies in sustainability since the longest time, and I've started like to first of all be very interested in it with my profession already since university. Like I remember going back to my dad saying, "Hey, Dad, I want to become the chief sustainability officer of a big corporation." And that was when a chief sustainability officer wasn't even a thing.
Right.
and and so I studied business, and so I was really curious of how you can create actual businesses, something that makes money but at the same time creates something meaningful for the world. And I remember like doing this case study actually in Germany, where you are
Okay.
right now, Tiago. I did an exchange, and we did this different like case studies, and it really like amazed me how you could do that. But in the end, I've always been a sort of like a solution oriented person, and so that's how I wanted to be part of the technology revolution that was happening, especially in different industry, but also a very important industry for me that has been like at the core and also part of my passions, which is the fashion industry. So I was born and raised in Milan, so I guess also that's the influence from there. And I mean, fashion is also a bit. I'm a type of person who has a bit of a creative side, or at least like likes the creativity from other people. So I'm not a creative myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I like to see it on other people. And so I think fashion is also an industry that it's pretty amazing on how it also brings joy, in a sense, to our lives,
Yeah.
and a sort of an expression of ourselves. And so yeah, I started in global brands in the Netherlands. So I worked at Nike and then at PVH, which is the mother company of Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. And actually, there I was sort of like an entrepreneur inside the big
Inside the company.
corporates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're called intrapreneurs.
Yes.
And that was also something that came natural because I basically got my dream job. I wanted to be in the innovation, like in the teams that were bringing newness inside the company. And so in both cases, so from one side, I was like sort of scouting for startups and creating proof of concepts and finding like different ways. And I saw how technology could be used for a more sustainable future, because you can sustainably influence also processes, make them shorter, but also make them more digital, avoid like all sampling and overproduction and things like that.
Right.
But also in a way that is just like for business and that's it. But so 2 years ago, I basically then stumbled across this problem that I had as a consumer. I mean, I was also an insider in the industry. I mean, the fashion industry is one of the most polluting. And
Yeah.
so,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found a problem, and then that's how a bit it hit to me that as a consumer, it's really hard to be more sustainable in your choices and stick to your values when you're shopping something. And that really blew my mind on how difficult it was. It was like the turning point for me.
Right. And I guess that problem then it originated Renoon.
Exactly. So basically, this was about 2 years ago. I needed a black dress, and I spent a month and a half trying to find it. I was like literally, like, I mean, normally it takes me 10 minutes to
Hmm.
buy something online. And I literally spent a month and a half going back from work every night and, like, searching things online and trying to find brands and find then places who sold those brands and brands that wouldn't ship from all over the world, from across the world, because that also didn't feel sustainable to me.
Right.
But also, like, understanding as a consumer, how can you make an impact, because there's so many ways you can have an impact, and sometimes it feels so overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's take a step back, because I was very interested with what you just said before. So you said that you didn't want to become an entrepreneur, but
No.
the moment you joined the company, you were kind of led to that path. But like, so in the past, if you now check your I know, in college, or your, did you ever had like some other projects before? Did you ever try to come up with something, your own business, or
I
not so
did,
much?
actually. I
Okay.
did. I've always been like sort of a person that likes to build and had millions of ideas on how to do things differently. It's just like, I think probably by my upbringing, because I didn't even know it was a possibility, because I haven't been, surrounded by people who have been entrepreneurs. Like,
Yeah.
no one from my family or circle of people that actually I knew was an entrepreneur. So it didn't even cross my mind, because I didn't know it was an option.
And what do they think of you now following that path?
Well,
Are they
they're really
scared?
proud of me.
Cool.
No, yeah, they're really proud of me. And I think also, yeah, I think you have to have it also been in your passion, and if it's there, because there are some people who it's not for them, right? They wouldn't even, like, choose it if they had all the possibilities to do it.
Right.
And yeah, so for me it was a natural, path that
Right.
happened.
And you have your dream job, right? So you're doing something in the fashion industry, something that you like,
Hmm.
and you still have this urge to go and fix a problem.
Yeah.
uh, you were not satisfied at your job, or was it something missing?
Well,
What was it?
I really I really loved it in a way that I I was lucky enough to but also, like, I chased for a long time what I really wanted to do.
Right.
And I mean, I literally, like, loved what I was doing in the corporate before. To me, it was really like something um, that came more from passion rather than escaping something that um,
Right.
I've always had I had a bit always, like, the feeling that I wanted to build something more,
Yeah.
like in my free time. Also, when I was in my corporate jobs, I did start, like, I also had side projects. I was so passionate about yoga as well, which was something that my circle of friends around me, like, didn't do.
Hmm.
And so, because it changed so much of my personal life, I was also, again, like, also for that, I was really passionate about
Right.
it, and I wanted to share it with the world. And so I actually did start, like, a channel and then a community online.
A
That,
YouTube channel.
yes, and it, like,
That explains why when I search your name on YouTube, a bunch of yoga videos pop up. I was
yeah, and
trying to look
also,
for other interviews, and I was like, "What? This is yoga? I don't get it." And then only
yeah.
when I searched with Renoon in front, then I found the interview. So,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a
It's a
it's
big
a
one. It's a big channel, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's a big channel. Surprisingly, also because well, I guess, like, by just, like, going on what I thought it was right for me, because I put myself a little bit on my mindset of well, if I wanted to discover yoga when I didn't know it yet, I thought I always got discouraged, and also that was for my friends, by maybe yoga videos of 1 hour. And so I started doing this 10 to 15, maximum 20 minutes
Yeah.
videos in Italian. And yeah, also, yeah, it really blew the channel. So it's that was a very interesting project that I did, and also developed into a marketplace online. So I did different things, and that was, like, a bit like I felt like I had this sort of, adventurous side that I wanted to express.
That is amazing. And so you also have kind of a source of income coming from the channel, the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great. Okay, well, we got sidetracked here a little bit, but it's also very interesting. Okay, let's go into Renoon. So you have this problem, right? You have this problem with the black dress, and you have this idea, but did you immediately know that you wanted to build an app to solve that problem? How did that process go?
No, I didn't. Actually, we really literally started, like, we didn't even know. And I talk about we because the first thing that I did was to actually go talk to a colleague of mine at PBH. And we started, brainstorming. He was like, yeah, let's do something about this. And I know this is kind of like, because then, so now we've done a couple of acceleration programs. And we know, but by that time we didn't know anything, about the theories of startups and how you should do things. Yeah. And the theory says that indeed you should start with a problem, not with a solution, because the solution might not be, ideal. But if you start and you're passionate about a problem, then everything it's like, you work around the problem. And so that's basically what we did. I had this problem, right? As a consumer, I didn't find products. I spent a month and a half. I was still unsure about the choice that I made. I had inconsistent information. And I still felt like, there's probably like so much products out there or brands out there that I could have included in my choice. But I didn't. And so like fear also of missing out, of not having a bit of a choice as well.
Yeah.
So because of all of that, we started thinking, do we create a brand? Actually, that was the first thing that we thought of. I said, no, definitely not. Like also in terms of sustainability, we don't want to and also that's not really solving the problem because it's just one brand again and not giving solutions. And so we create an e-commerce and we're like, no, not even, because there's so many e-commerces out there and it's still not solving the problem of, inconsistent information and actually like really guiding people, because that was my burning problems. And from other users that I started to talk to. And so that's how the solution came about, which still like it wasn't an app, but so the solution for us, it's we combine multiple websites. So we aggregate the information and then we process the information and we have a sustainability framework that lets products pass or not. And so we do a sustainability analysis both at the brand level, but also at the product level. And we then give these attributes to the different products with our algorithm. And that also allows the consumer, the user, to know exactly what that product is doing in terms of sustainability and also the brand. And we created, like, for us, it was like a huge research that we did, both qualitative and quantitative, from the industry, consumers. And we didn't know that we wanted to create an app. Indeed, like Renoon first started as a website, just a website. And that's actually also something that happened to us that really made us it was a key moment when we started to think in product. Like we're building a product, we're building a service, we're not building a website. And that literally changed our mind on things. And when we did that, we understood that building an app would allow us to do that.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? So what is this mindset shift between, or what is the difference between a product and a website?
Yeah. So I think a website is just like a place where people come and go. I feel in a way, and just people come and then they transact and that's it. So a product for us was like a full-on service because inside Renoon, you just don't come, but we let you express yourselves, you go through an onboarding, then it's the whole service around it, because you start personalizing it, and it becomes a thing that becomes it's hard to explain in a way, but it's sort of like IMDb or Spotify, you know, those are products because those are not, or even, you know, social media apps. Those are all products in a way,
Right.
and not websites. So a website is just like an online shop.
Right. So you see the website as a more, as you said, a transition phase, something that people will use it as only as a when they need it and then they forget about it. Whereas a product is something that it's with the person. It's like having something, having a pen or having like an object with them, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a nice comparison to it. And I think you can do that with a digital app.
Makes a lot of sense. So you're doing this with a partner, right?
We're actually 4. So we're we're a little bit outside of the theory, but again, like from this past year and a half that we started, I've also learned that I mean, not to listen too much also sometimes to the theory. So basically when I started with this partner to with my partner to first, like, you know, do the research, etc. We immediately noticed that we needed a CTO and then a person that was really strong.
That's my sorry to interrupt my question there. So your first guest partner is also in the tech world, or like what is the background?
Yeah, so actually the first person that joined my crazy problem to start solving this problem was actually a person that I knew he has been always like passionate about entrepreneurship. Like since he's little, he's tried to create social media platforms and things like that. So he's a little bit, you know, the know it all a little bit of the team in a way, that in a sense that he has a bit of a very mixed background, because he's done business, he's done a bit tech, data, you know, and currently he's also like the financial business plan guy.
He's a joker, does everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then we immediately noticed, because we started, you know, let's create like a random prototype together, so that when we were doing like the research, we could go and show something. And we did, because there are a lot of like tools out there that allow you to start with something very crappy, but at least have something outside.
Right, like a website then.
Yeah, it was a website that.
And which tool did you use, by the way?
So we did a website in Shopify, and we actually use, I don't remember the name, but because we do scraping, so we didn't even like, you know, partner with the website at the beginning. So we just took like some websites, some brands, and we were scraping their websites, and we were using also a tool that allowed us not to like overcode it.
At this point, I guess there's not a lot of money that you invested. I guess for Shopify you had to invest some money. Is it all coming from your pockets, or were you thinking on getting some investments? What was the reasoning there?
We actually, at the beginning, we didn't think of raising money. Like, again, like to us, it was like completely new. So we really first we wanted to understand what is it that we wanted to build.
Right.
That's like, and if I was the only, like, you know, crazy person who had that problem, you know, or if there were other people, like if I wasn't just solving this for myself, or you know, talking to other users, potential users, and but also the industry in itself, to understand and create our vision of sustainability in this very intricate and complex industry, which is also when I talk to people who work in sustainability in other industries, is literally like something so particular for clothing and fashion industry, because there are so many things that we still need to do in many different aspects. And so because of that, we literally like started with, just with this prototype. I think we invested like 200, 300 euros, something like this. So of course it came from our pockets. For us, it didn't happen that we started, you know, to look for money until, you know, when we had our CTO, we had done like thorough testing, and we
Right.
got accepted in an accelerator program. So that's what we did immediately. Like we said, let's get help from someone who's expert in building startups, because
Yeah.
that's going to give us also more accountability and also guide us in this initial path, and not do it, let's say, alone.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because yeah, there are many startup accelerators, but for me, for myself, I always think that I don't know, that I won't learn that much for some reason. I don't know why I have this
Mm.
impression, and then I will just go there, and they will take like a part of my company,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I have always this feeling that it's not that useful.
Yeah.
Do you find it useful?
I
What is
think
yours?
it really depends on what you're building. So for us, it was very complex. Like we wanted to also understand more the in and outs, and like we had no clue right on where to start. And so for us, we found that it allowed us to develop
Right.
our concept much faster, because we had exposure, first of all, like exposure to more people with what we were building, and that also gave us, like, feedback, a lot of feedback, and a lot of people to talk to.
Right.
And that, like, I think that's like the main thing that you get out of an accelerator. But I think you need to, if you go to an accelerator, you need to be very specific on what is it that you want to get out of it, and also be specific and very picky on what you're getting. And I think also a lot of accelerators are, moving away from like the standard like classroom things, that those
Right.
I also think that are not helpful.
Uh-huh. And so you built the website to determine if there was a need for it, if there was a market for it, right?
Yeah.
How did that go? Did you get your answers?
So in a way, you never get your answers, because you don't know, how much, it's always like potential. It's like, okay, like to have an immediate answer, like a very, like, 100% answer. Maybe you want to get, a million people and say if that's something valuable. But also to us, like what we noticed at the beginning, what we tested with the website was, are people anyways like going to be interested in this, and that's the
Right.
immediate thing that you test. Even like when we created our second prototype through our acceleration program. So the first one, we don't even call it like prototype, because it was
Right.
basically just like a sketch. We didn't even have, like, the back end and everything else that we needed to build.
But you got
um,
users going
we
there,
Yeah,
right?
we did
How
we did.
many?
um Not many. I think we just tested it with 100, 200 users, something
Hmm.
like that.
So you just shared it on your like network, and you
Yeah,
got
on the
people.
network. Actually, what we did is also that we ran some ad campaigns
Right.
to, because also, I mean, this was because the initial idea was 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, also not a lot of people had already started thinking, I'm going to shop more sustainably.
Yeah. Hmm.
So a lot of people, so when we were talking to also the accelerators, they were like, huh, these people, okay, they're building something in sustainable
Hmm.
fashion, but still, like, they were interested, but still something like completely new, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was like our very, very initial like sketch. We actually had like a transaction, I remember, like from these first users, and we were like, whoa.
Wow.
uh,
Yeah.
from this prototype, that I think if I don't want to see that, like, I don't remember exactly how it was, but I think, or what I wrote on it, but I think I would laugh if I see it right now. Because it was, yeah, it was the initial, idea of what we wanted to build, and also gave people an
Yeah.
initial idea, but it wasn't like the full thing that.
And I'm interested to know how was your experience with ads?
Mhm.
Because for me, it's always, I don't know, always get some random user that they are not even active. So was it hard to
Mhm.
get the users flowing?
No, so for us, because we had like a very specific initial idea of the target,
Right.
and probably also myself, like being the first user, like I knew already like pretty much who I wanted to target.
you're trying to target yourself, people
Yeah, so
like you.
exactly. So that's really literally like how we started. Like we started like targeting women who were between 25 and 30 years old.
Right.
And we did some tests like in different countries to also test that. So those were the initial tests that we ran.
Right. And you're trying to see if in within that target there was people that also cared for sustainability, right?
Exactly. So they cared about shopping fashion online. They cared about sustainability, and we also put some other things. For example, they did yoga, and so like to
Yeah.
try and narrow down the target.
Yeah, actually, because you already back then had a big channel. Did you use your channel to advertise your first prototype?
I actually did not. I guess also because for the longest time I saw the things that I was doing with my channel like sort of separate. Like I didn't understand that it actually made sense, in the different things. And I didn't,
Right.
but it would have been a good idea, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning, when you're, the first time entrepreneurs and you have these things, you sort of like also want to keep it a bit quiet, like, oh, I'm testing and I'm doing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if like now it's like the best thing you can do is just like put it out there. And
Right.
even
So
if
why were you trying to keep it quiet? Like out of shame, out of fear that someone would steal your idea?
I didn't fear that somebody would steal my idea, because I was very aware, and I'm still like very aware that it's like so complex to build. So I was like, even if someone like really likes the idea, I mean, good luck building it.
Yeah.
But at this, it was a bit probably also shame, because I was like, I'm not sure about like what we're building here, and
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to show it to the world.
Right.
And yeah, and probably also I didn't really like see immediately the connection
Yeah.
of these two things that I was doing, and I sort of like kept it separate.
Yeah. And so you still had your job there, right? Or did you quit your
Yeah,
job?
no, I was still at my job.
Okay. And so you tested, you saw there was some users coming. You saw that, okay, there's something we can do here. You found a CTO.
Hmm.
And how did you find it? Did you just like put out an ad, or like you knew someone? How did that work?
There was in Amsterdam, like there's this meetups
Right.
of like technical people and a lot of like just startups, and there's like a startup every or a couple that pitch every night. And so I went there for a month straight, like every Thursday, to see like, just talk about, I have this idea, and see like if somebody would jump on board. But then it happened that after, I think around that time, somebody in my building, like I met him, and like just talking, he's like, oh, I do a backend and I scrape, and I've been doing that for 8 years. I'm like, you do what? and this guy was actually super passionate about sustainability.
Wow. Okay.
And so yeah, when we presented him like this idea, he's like, yeah, like immediately, like, yeah, let's build it. And we started to build it with him.
Cool. And then so what was the next step? So you start building something. When do you get in the accelerator program?
Yeah, so we basically then we basically decided. So at that point, that was like after around 6 months, when we were like, talking to people, testing things, etc. Then at some point, I said, okay, like I'm gonna quit my job, because I also wanted to create something for like the other project I was doing, and actually do this as well. And so I said, okay, like
Right.
let's quit my
The
job.
YouTube project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I basically created an e-commerce with that, and I wanted to like also like just test it further, and like probably you're doing now, like do my own projects. Right. And that's what I did. And then I said, okay, like immediately, like just after the first month, I realized that I wanted to, for me, for the team, we were all like new to this, like wanted to have a kick. And then I found this accelerator that was like perfect for us. So it was in fashion tech, and it was like very specific to what we were building. And so we decided to apply, and we started the process with them, which took, I think, 3 months. And in the meantime, I also indeed I was doing different projects. And then we got into the accelerator, and then we incorporated the company.
Right.
And then everything started. That was February 2020, so last year.
Oh, okay. And how did it feel? Was it easy for you to quit your job?
So it wasn't easy in a way, because you're always like, there's always a reason why not to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, I want to do this. And I mean, I could get a job anytime if I want to.
Right.
And the time is now. I'm so passionate about trying this, and I want to do it. So I literally I decided. Yeah. And the day I decided, I think I told my parents, and then 2 days after I told my boss, and yeah.
Wow.
And then,
what did your parents say?
I didn't expect it, but my dad was like, yeah, well done.
Wow, that's great.
He's like, yeah, I mean, it's a good path. Like I see it well for you, and yeah. They're
that's great.
Very supportive, I have to say. I didn't expect it. Yeah. But yeah.
It's really cool. And so you already finished the accelerator program, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the outcome of that?
Yeah, so with the accelerator program, and actually this is also something that I started doing before. So I started to talk to a lot of people that I thought that would be crucial, interesting, and that would also guide me. So these were people that are still business angels that they also work with startups. And so after the accelerator, what we did is, okay, now we needed to fully raise our pre-seed round. Because until then, we actually did receive an investment. We did put our own finances in there. Mm-hmm. Also, we received we also had another person indeed to join the team as co-founder, who also invested, and we had the accelerator that also invested. But it was still the small family, friends, and fools type of round. And so now we needed to raise our pre-seed round, and also for me was the first time raising funds for a startup. And so I think the accelerator program, and I also did one that it's for female founders. It's actually called Female Founders. Mm-hmm. And it's an amazing accelerator program, because I immediately realized that also in this space, we as women are very few. And sometimes the other person I was talking to was normally a white man. And so I also felt, every time that I talked to a woman, it would also get what I'm building a bit more.
Right.
And it was also more in depth into it just generalizing, but because it wasn't always the case actually, because it could also have been the other way around. But actually, I'm very passionate about us women as entrepreneurs, and I have to say that actually the combination of 2 accelerators, and it doesn't have to be actually that you give away your equity or you pay for accelerators. It's not always the case. So for us, one of the accelerators, it was like that, but not the other. And it's really good because you get mentors. And for me, I got mentored by a person who is in a very big VC.
And was it a woman mentor?
It was a woman, yeah.
Right.
And so she told me okay, you just now you can start talking to VCs, but you really need to go focused on having business angels and do this round with business angels, because that's I'm sure that's gonna work. And that's basically what I did. And so we decided to get some also external help, in creating an SPV, in which it's a special purpose vehicle that basically that basically allows you to also do a round with angel investors that also maybe put 5, 10, 20K tickets and put them all together, and then have like one person, like one entity in the cap table, so that you don't pollute it a lot, because that normally happens when you're doing like an angel round. Maybe you get like smaller tickets. It also depends like in which country you do it.
What is a ticket?
It's like an investment.
Right. Okay.
Amount of investment. Yeah, we call it a ticket.
Okay.
And so yeah, basically that's what happened.
And how much money do you raise?
So,
can you disclose that?
Yeah, so we actually had in mind to raise 500K for our pre-seed round, but actually we doubled that. Because we also said, okay, like what if it goes wrong? And so we actually applied to also government grant, and it also happened to actually Clubhouse, that we got approached by one of the, it's still not a public domain information, but we got approached by one of the big, accelerator programs in the US.
YC?
I can't tell, but it's one of those three. and basically, yeah. So we got into that. So they also invest an interesting amount of money. And so yeah, so we got the business angels, the government, and net. And so now we're at 1 million of raising. So
it's amazing. Why do you need so much money?
Because it's very heavy type of tech that we need. So for the app and for the backend, and also marketing. That's what we need to do. We need to build software and then bring it to the world. Right.
And so who is doing the business plan? Is it you?
It's actually me and Gabriele, the other co-founder.
Right. I'm still thinking that 1 million, sorry. Because like for me, if someone would tell me, Tiago, I'm giving you 1 million, I don't even know where I would use it. So how did you prepare for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so business plans, so we actually have with business angels, like we also we're very excited about like the people who joined as business angels, because that was also the advice from my mentor from the big VC fund.
Right.
She's called Elizabeth, and she's amazing. Like she's been following me, and basically her also advice was like just not get like any business angel. I mean, it's okay, but also like try to get people that would also signal something to the outside world. And so we have for example, the ex-CIO of Gucci, the ex-CTO of Yves Saint Laurent, some people from ex-Spotify that have, joined the round, which also give us, their expertise.
Whoa, yeah. What a team. Uh-huh.
And so because of that, also in business plans, like this is actually one of our business angel, he says like, yeah, business plans are made to not be followed, but in a way, because it's like you're there in your room in a piece of paper, like trying to figure out like, the future. And then in a way, when you're there and you're spending the money, actually things are different. So you might, have over budgeted something or under budgeted something. The important thing is that things might also like level, but it's more or less something that I think you can learn to do quite quickly.
Right.
It's not like rocket science. You only have to also have that peace of mind of saying like, I'm just gonna do it, because you're never gonna have it perfect.
Right.
It's an estimate. It's a projection that you're making.
Got it.
I have to say that Gabri is very good at doing it, because his projections are pretty accurate normally. And but yeah, I think also having maybe a mentor or an advisor that helps you with that, it's good.
And in your team, so you're the only woman, and then there's 3 guys.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Why? Like, was it just organic, or
do
you work better with men, or like
No,
what?
I mean, I'm actually very happy that we managed to also do our first two hires in tech, that they were women.
Right.
Now we also hired a man, but it's just like our team grew organically. Like I was like me talking to people and people being attracted to what we were building.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have to say one thing though, because I did also have women that did, they were like so like, and they really helped me also at the beginning, when Renoon was an idea, and I had like different people approach me and also
Right.
like working with me in their free time to
Yeah.
get things going, like or thinking together with me. And in the end they did not make the choice to like
Follow.
fully join, and say
And
like,
why do you
okay,
think?
it's not only women. It also happened that we also had a friend of ours like as a
Yeah.
man, so it's not. But I did notice that with these others it was a bit more. Well, I don't know. I feel it's a thing that we need to change, right, in our
Yes.
society,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
get
Yes. Definitely.
more women to
Yeah.
just get going,
Yeah.
and try these things.
Yeah. For sure. Um. So, what is the status now? After raising money, you're already hiring a team.
Yeah.
You released on Android and iOS,
Yeah.
and how has it been?
Yeah, so definitely like we're really really proud of what we have been building like so far. Everyone who sees the app, they're like, whoa, is this just like you guys who built this? Like it looks like a huge company. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's us. And so that's like a very big compliment to me, because we've been working like day and night, I mean, on how things go. And now it's like we're really in that phase of finding product market fit. So that's a big word, but it means that basically we're focusing on like retention numbers, and so like making sure that like the users that we bring in, they have enough value from the product to keep it
Right.
on their phone and keep on using it, also not just keeping it on their phone. And so it takes a bit of tweaks to it, because you're not, probably you will like, that is also what a lot of mentors tell us, like it for some teams it takes them 3 months to get to product market fit, and for others it takes years even.
Right.
So
how do you know you got to product market fit?
You know it because users are retaining, so you can retain users.
Yeah.
And then the curve also starts, growing, because people also then not only
Organic
like,
growth.
you don't only like retaining, but also they tell their friends, and but it's still like at the beginning it's always like you have to push, and it's all like in you have to go up, so it's like it's tough in that sense, but it's also fun, like we get to have our hands dirty and play with it. So for us that's the moment in which we are, and as you said, making sure that we can spend this money wisely to get to the next step. I think the biggest learning for me so far in building an app, building a startup, is thinking of steps. Because sometimes, like, you have, especially for me, and it's not everyone like this, but I've always been like this. So you have like this big idea and dream, and you're like, whoa, I'm like gonna build this and making like an international product. Everyone's gonna use it, and I'm gonna make like this big changes also in the world. And but you need to think it a bit step by step. Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm Italian, so I can say that. And so you need to really think, okay, what is it that, and find focus. So focus on that metric that you want to get up. Don't focus on anything else. So now we're focusing on retention. We don't care about how many sales we do. We don't care about anything else but retaining the user.
Yes. Wow, that's a great tip. And Yeah, it has been a very, very interesting conversation. One last question from my side will be, there are many entrepreneurs listening to this podcast. Well, not many. Hopefully, in the future will be more, but
Step by step.
step by step, yeah. What would be your advice for someone that is starting, and particularly for women that are also planning on going through the entrepreneur path?
Talk to people. I think this is the biggest advice I would say, because just by talking to people, you'll find potential team members, potential future investors, potential clients, potential users, everything. So really, like, get it out there, talk to people, but also listen, because also by listening and then going back to them, that there then you can turn them, in what you want them to turn into, like if it's a client, a user, an investor. And yeah, so that was like, for me, like that came pretty naturally to me to do it, but I know that
Right.
from other founders it doesn't. And I think it's a big blocker if you're not just like talking to everyone, because yeah, I mean, how we're doing it today, Tiago, right? So we learned from each other already.
Right.
And yeah, you hear people saying things back at you, and that's the biggest thing that you can do at the beginning.
So do not hold on to your ideas and thoughts. Just share them with the world, and things will happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining this interview and sharing all of your journey. It's really, really a pleasure. I will link your app in the description of this episode. I will maybe also link your YouTube channel.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, I hope someone can also indeed learn from this. And yeah, but really, guys, like, get out there and yeah, play.
Yeah, those are some wise words. I just want to say to finish this episode that if you're a first time listener and you have no idea what this podcast is about, go and check out the first episode. It's called The Pilot, and I explain what is the purpose of Wannabe Entrepreneur. Also, I don't do ads. I don't want to waste your time with things that neither of us believes in. So if you think that this podcast is valuable, you can just consider buying me a coffee. The link will also be in the description of this episode. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you tomorrow.